Promoting a supportive environment. When you acknowledge and appreciate the positive qualities of others, you contribute to creating a supportive and encouraging environment. In such an environment, individuals are more likely to feel valued and accepted, which can positively impact their confidence levels. Reciprocal encouragement. Positive recognition tends to be reciprocal. When you acknowledge the strengths of others, they may reciprocate by recognizing your positive qualities. This mutual encouragement can create a cycle of positivity that benefits everyone involved. It's important to note that building confidence is a multifaceted process, and acknowledging the positive qualities of others is just one aspect of it. Additionally, genuine and authentic acknowledgement is more likely to have a positive impact. If the recognition is sincere and not driven by ulterior motives, it contributes to the creation of a supportive and uplifting social environment.
That talks about giving credit to get confidence is something that I've tried to pass on to athletes, coaches. Look, you don't have a monopoly on it all. And one of the biggest failures in combat sports is we look so deep in only within the martial arts arena and the way martial arts have always been done, the way it's always been conveyed. We don't look at what football, basketball does, baseball does, organization-wise, and realize that we can benefit from some of those structures. One thing, like we just saw the Super Bowl, and one of the things that may be overlooked is the fact that the Eagles the Eagles coach used to be a coach for the Chiefs, you know, and I don't know what role he played, whether it was offense or defense, but he was one of their coaches. And if you look at a football team, they have multiple coaches, and even that, and I don't know the names because I don't follow football to that degree, but the Eagles coach even said that if he was busy trying to design offenses and defenses and special teams and all these different coaching roles that he has, he wouldn't be able to strategize the overall gameplay. And you heard my clip that I had probably last week with Greg Jackson, and he says, you know, you've got to have your boxing, wrestling coach and boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu coach and kickboxing coach, but you got to have your MMA coach that glues it together. Somehow we've missed that in combat sports, that especially in MMA more specifically, where we don't have multiple coaches who are talented. Because like I said before, we want to get from good to great. So we've got to have very, very talented coaches that take us to great. So they got to be talented in terms of what they know. They got to be really talented with their boxing, really talented with their wrestling, really talented with their jiu-jitsu, really talented with their kickboxing, and give credit to where credit is due. And so you've heard me have this conversation, and I talk about understanding performance. If I understand performance, I don't have to do what you do to recognize it. I don't have to do what you do to give credit and respond to it. When you have people that are performing at a high level within their realm, you're beginning to understand what high performance is without it having to be a part of your realm. That's when you start gaining that knowledge and that understanding. Think about it like this: when you're a high level fighter, but there's something about a particular song that you go, that song moves me, or that album moves me, or that body of work moves me. I've got to have that person in my catalog. What is it about that person? They perform at a high level doing what they do. It's something about the way the song is designed, the way it's written, the musical instruments. It's something about it. But you get a sense of it. When you look at other martial arts systems, and even though they may not do what you do, you go to a judo school and you say, I don't know what's going on here. But what they do is at a high level. They don't compete in MMA, but what they do is at a high level. I got a sense of it. I can tell. And so that's the key to like really understanding high performance and giving credit to other people for doing what they're doing. for being able to elevate their games is you start to recognize that it doesn't have to be the same thing as you. And unfortunately, in martial arts, we like to only recognize people that are doing what we do. And I think it's a very limiting factor. It holds us back. We need to look at everything from an organizational point of view, from a structural point of view, from a educational point of view, and learn to look at who's doing well in their areas and how can we borrow some of what they do and add it to our own uniqueness, add it to our own specific aims and goals to get better outcomes and to maintain those outcomes. It's not something that we do well in the martial arts, because a lot of martial arts is taught from this base of there's one guru and that we all must adhere blindly to what he or she says. And that's where I think the martial arts needs a little bit of change. We can use a little bit of growing up and realize it's absolutely okay to bring in others and lean on them, whether we're talking about senior students, whether we're talking about additional coaches, assistant coaches. We can lean on the people in that realm for the skills and talents that they have, because also a lot of them will also have skills and talents outside of the martial arts that they've added to the martial arts. Most martial arts gyms these days are way more professional than the gyms in the 70s. So a lot of them now have, somebody to run the desk, and that person may or may not be a martial artist. Whoever your receptionist is does not have to be a martial artist. They have to be good at handling customer inputs and problems when they have them, and being able to answer basic questions like any other business. So you also have coaches who can talk about individual programs and really know what they're talking about. You also want someone who's there to help get uniforms and decide on which gloves are the best, which outfits are the best, the clothing. So there's a lot of moving parts that you just didn't have in the early decades of martial arts, but we haven't grown up across the board when it comes to the teaching side. And I tell you, it's primarily because most martial arts businesses, most of them, are still ran by the owner of the business. That's how most martial arts business still see themselves, and so they have to maintain that aura of the guru, of being the head master in charge. And so because of that, they have this fear of growing up or borrowing something from another entity or industry, because it may make them look weak. And when in truth, it makes them look incredibly strong. It really does. Because you would be proud of that person to say, hey, I don't have a mastery of everything, but I know other masters and I'm going to bring them in. That's why I like the idea of giving credit to other people to gain confidence within myself, because it allows me to see clearly what they're doing so well, so beautifully. And when you can add that uniqueness that they have to your own qualities, then it makes you even more unique. And it also is a form of self-discovery, because you'll realize they're doing some things that you didn't do before, things you didn't know, things that you should have added a long time ago, but it's also things you'll be proud to add. And that's the beautiful part about it. It's like when you can accept the uniqueness of others and the skills that they bring to the table, then that's when it's going to help you elevate your game. Because like I said, you don't have to be what they are and do what they do. And that's another thing about it. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that what I do is at a higher level versus what you do. And there's nothing further from the truth. Because once you're performing at a real high level, let's remember, there's only 100% of anything. So if you have someone who's performing at 90% efficiency in their jiu-jitsu, and someone who's performing 90% efficiency in their boxing, they both are performing at 90% high levels. that it's not the martial art that makes the difference. They're both very important. Now, if you have someone who's performing, say 90% efficiency in their wrestling, but when it comes to the kickboxing, it's only performing at 50%. Yeah, it does look like, well, wrestling is better. And that's because the efficiency for kickboxing hasn't raised this level yet, and it hasn't met the standard of what you are looking for. At that point, you probably need a new coach. Honestly, not a new martial art. And there's no need to substitute that martial art for another. You just don't have the right coach. You don't have the right system of kickboxing that may be implemented by that coach. And if you don't know how to raise your performance levels, then that too is part of the problem. That is part of the problem. All right, Mad World, I've had a good time talking about the things today. I don't want to get off right away. Let's play some tracks, and it'll fade itself out. But let some music take us out. I am Coach Sess. You've had words with the Mad Coach.
When I go to sleep, I hear voices in my head. Just give up. I keep on hearing the same voices when I'm out here chasing bread. Just give up. Got me looking out my window, got me looking under my bed. Just give up. But I ain't never giving up, and them some words I ain't never said. Just give up. And yo, still vision there.
Who is that?
Come closer.
What you mean come closer? I don't even know you. Matter of fact, who is you?
Dog, I'm your conscience. I'm finna introduce you to a whole lot of options. Remember when you had beef and you didn't run? I was the one there who told you to squeeze that gun.
How you know about that? That was back in 95. I ain't really want beef. I was trying to let it slide. Not to mention, it was only 3 dudes outside, and you not none of them. So homie, won't you quit lying? Okay, joke's over with. Quit playing, I am serious. And how you know so much of my business? I'm so curious.
Okay, calm down a little bit. You sounding so furious. You talking too much. Wanna know where here it is? I'm the pain, I'm the place where the fear begins. I'ma speak life in your ears so you can hear your sin. Nights when I go to sleep, I hear voices in my head. Just give up. I keep on hearing the same voices when I'm out here chasing bread. Just give up. Got me looking out my window, got me looking under my bed. Just give up. But I ain't never giving up, and them some words I ain't never said. Just give up.
Okay, now you got me tripping cause you know so much. I know I heard your voice before, it's kinda driving me nuts. Where was you when I was asking all them whys and what? You probably the reason why